الله وبركاته. Dear financial management students, today inshallah we will continue discussing chapter 14 in a financial management course, which is talking about the distributions to shareholders, dividends and repurchase. In the previous lecture we talking about the distribution of the free cash flow of the firms and cash dividend, and today inshallah we will talking about the distributions in a form of stock repurchases. So the stock repurchases happens when a company buy back some of its own outstanding stocks. So we can define the repurchases. It is buying own stock of the firm back from the stockholders. And the main question here, why the companies do this process, why the company repurchase again their outstanding stocks from the stakeholders. The reasons for repurchases: the first reason, it is an alternative to distributing cash as a dividend. Okay, so we talked in the previous lecture that we can distribute the free cash flow in two forms. The first one as a cash dividend, or as a repurchase. So it is an alternative or substituting way to distribute the company's free cash flow for the shareholders. The second reason, to dispose of one-time cash from an asset sale. Okay, so it is one-time cash from an asset sale. So for example, if the company decide to sell a division or a part of the company this year, so the free cash flow which is generated from this process can be distributed to the shareholders, but it is preferable to be distributed as a form of repurchases rather than cash dividend. ليش؟ لأنه أنا إذا بدي أوزع هذه الأموال ككاش ديفيدند، فالشيرهولدرز حيتوقعوا مني إنه في السنوات القادمة إنه أستمر على هذا النهج أو على هذا المنوال من التوزيع. فبالتالي أنا البيع لهذا الديفيجن يعني هو حدث مرة واحدة، احتمال ما يحدث بعد 5 أو 10 أو 20 حتى سنة. فبالتالي من الأفضل أنه أنا أوزعه كأعمل إعادة شراء للأسهم. Okay, and the third reason, make a large capital structure change. Some companies decide to increase its leverage by issuing debt and use it to repurchase the stocks or their outstanding stocks. So when they are issuing debt or take the loan from banks, so the capital structure will be changed and they will use this money in order to repurchase their own stock. And the last reason for repurchases is to use when employees exercise a stock option. Many firms have given their employees stock options, which is called the employees stock ownership plan, and the companies often repurchase their own stock to sell to employees who exercise the option. This stock is a form of granting which is given to the special employees within the organization. Okay, the next slide talking about the procedures of repurchases. Announce intent to repurchase stock, and there are 3 ways to purchase our own stock from the market, whether through the broker or trustee in the open market, or by a tender offer to shareholders, or to purchase block shares from large holder of our own stock on a negotiated basis. Okay, so there are 3 ways, whether through a broker or tender offer, or to make a block repurchase from the large holder of our own stock in the market. Firms doesn't have to complete its announced intent to repurchase, so they can stop it at any time. Okay, Now we will ask a question whether the cash distributions in a form of cash dividend or repurchase the firm or the intrinsic value of our stock price before the distribution, then we will compare it with after the distribution in a form of cash dividend or repurchase. Okay, what is the main steps for calculating the intrinsic stock price? First of all, we have to calculate the value of operations of the firm. Then we will add the short-term investments. It will give us the total intrinsic value of the firm. Then we will deduct all of the debts or the preferred stock, and it will give us the intrinsic value of equity. Then we will divide this number with a number of shares of the company, which is issued by the company, and it will give us the intrinsic value price per share. Okay, so for this example, the value of operation as given in the previous slide, 1,937,500. The short-term investment will be added to give us the total value of the firm, which is equal 1,987,500. Okay, after that we will deduct all of the debts and all of the preferred stock, and it will give us the value of equity. The firm here have only a debt. There is no preferred stock for this company, so the debt will be deducted from 1,987,500, and it will give us $1,600,000. It is the value of equity. So in order to calculate the price per share or the intrinsic price per share, we will divide this number by the number of shares, which is given before, the 100 shares. So the total intrinsic price here, $1,600,000 divided by 100 shares. The price here is $16. Okay, now we will calculate the stock price or the intrinsic stock price after the distributions. At the first time after distributions as a cash dividend, and after distribution as a repurchase, and we will show the differences, if there is a difference or not. Okay, so the next slide, it is the intrinsic value after a $50 million dividend distribution. So on this slide, the company decide to pay the free cash flow as a dividend, and we will see if the stock price change or not. So again, how we can calculate the intrinsic stock price: the value of the operation plus the short-term investment. It will give us the value of the company or the firm. We will deduct all of the debts and the preferred stock. It will give us the value of equity divided by the number of shares. It will give us the intrinsic value or the price per share. This is before the distribution. So after the distribution, but after the distribution in a form of cash dividend, the value of operation, it will be the same, $1,937,500. Here the short-term investments, this amount of money, it will not be invested, it will be paid as a dividend. So the short-term investment, it will be equal 0. So the total value of the firm is equal $1,937,500 minus all of the debt and all of the preferred stock. So the total value of equity equal $1,550,000 divided by the number of shares, which is 100. The intrinsic price per share equal $15.5. So it is reduced or it is decreased by $0.5. 16 minus 15.5, it will be equal $0.5. Okay, the difference or the drop in the stock price is called a dividend per share. Okay, so for every share for every stockholders we are paid a dividend as for one share $0.50. Okay, so the question here, the wealth of the shareholders or the shareholders were affected, or it is decreased or increased. Here the price of our stock equal $16, and it now after the distributions of free cash flow as a dividend, it is decreased by half to 15.5. But we will give the shareholders also a dividend by $0.50. So the total wealth of the shareholders is equal $16. So the wealth of the shareholders doesn't change. The change here in the stock price, it is dropped or decreased. And why it is decreased? Of course, because we are paying a dividend by $0.50. Okay. So this is the results or the conclusion on the previous slide. A drop in a price with dividend distribution. Note that the stock price drops by dividend per share in model. So the stock price will be decreased by dividend per share. Why it is decreased from 16 to 15.5? Because we are paying a dividend. So of course it will be decreased. Okay, if it didn't, there would be arbitrage opportunity, assuming that there is no taxes. يعني في هذا النقطة بيحكي لنا لنفترض انه ما صار في عندي dropping في البرايس، ضل البرايس هنا $16. فايش اللي حيحصل؟ اللي حيحصل انه هنا تعتبر فرصة بالنسبة للمستثمر انه ممكن انا اشتري قبل ما يصير في عندي توزيعات للأرباح بيوم واحد. تمام، فأنا حشتري بسعر $16. تمام، في يوم التوزيعات اللي هو في اليوم الثاني إيش اللي حيصير؟ حاخد $0.5 كديفيدند، وممكن أبيع كمان الشير اللي معايا اللي هو $16. تمام، فبالتالي هيك وكأني أنا حملك $16.5. فبالتالي هذه بسموها الحالة بالarbitrage opportunity، وهذه صعب انها تصير. Okay, in real world stock price drops on average by about 90% of dividend. Okay, a repurchase has no effect on stock price. Now we will see how a repurchase will change the stock price, or what is the effect of repurchase on a stock price. Okay, the announcement of an intended repurchase might send a signal that affect stock price, and the previous events that led to cash available for distribution affect the stock price. But the actual repurchase has no impact on stock price. إذن فعليا repurchase ما بتأثر على الstock price. For example, if investors thought that the repurchase would increase the stock price, they would all purchase stock that day before, which would drive up its price. Okay, فبالتالي هنا بقول لي انه المستثمرين يعني لو كانوا بيعتقدوا انه سعر هذا السهم حيرتفع بعد عملية الريبرتشيز، فايش اللي حيعملوه؟ they would all purchase stock the day before. فهم يعني الكل حيحاول انه يشتري اكبر عدد ممكن من الأسهم، لأنه اليوم سعرها منخفض. تمام، لكن بكرة حيرتفع بعد عملية اللي هو repurchase. So they will repurchase or purchase stock the day before, which would drive up its price. فبالتالي طب هم إيش استفادوا هدول الانفستورز؟ اليوم مثلا خلينا نقول سعر الستوك كان $16، $16. تمام. after the repurchase it will be increased، يعني هم حسب اعتقادهم انه يعني حيرتفع بعد عملية repurchases ل $17. فانا اليوم مثلا حدفع $16. تمام. في اليوم حشتري عفوا السهم $16، فبالتالي انا حدفع $16. اوكي. ولما حيجي يوم التوزيعات حاخد توزيعات على عدد الأسهم على كل سهم أنا اشتريته. خلينا نقول مثلا الديفيدند بير شير كان $0.50، فبالتالي أنا حستفيد $0.50. وكمان إذا بعت السهم حبيعه طبعا بالسعر الأعلى، لأنه after repurchase حيكون مثلا $17. فأنا إيش استفدت هان؟ أنا دفعت $16 يعني ماينس 16 زائد أخذت dividend per share في يوم التوزيعات $0.50. تمام. وكمان أخذت بعد عملية البيع لهذا الشير $17، فبالتالي كم عندي حيكون الجين 17 ناقص 16 $1.50، فأنا استفدت $1.50. في الكيس الثانية if investors thought that the repurchase would decrease the stock price، لو عملية الريبرتشيز لا حتعمل لي انخفاض في سعر السهم، فإيش اللي حيصير؟ they would all sell short the stock the day before. فهم إيش اللي حيعملوا؟ حيحاولوا لا إنهم يبيعوا كل الستوكس، عشان يعني إذا أنا اليوم السعر كان 16 بكرة حيصير 15، لا فأنا في اليوم اللي قبل عملية اللي هو ريبرتشيز بدي أحاول إنه أنا أبيع عشان أستفيد من إنه سعر السهم 16 مش إنه يصير 15 which would drive down the stock price. فهذه العملية حتؤدي إلى اللي هو انخفاض في سعر السهم. Okay. So again, the repurchase process has no effect on stock price. Shares repurchased, it is equal the cash which is used to repurchase divided by the stock price. Okay, or it is equal the number of shares before or prior the repurchased minus the number of shares post or after the repurchased. Okay. لكن هنا أنا عندي عايزة أحسب ال number of shares after the repurchased. أوكي. طيب فإذا المعادلة الأولى بتساوي الثانية، معناته إنه الجانب الثاني من المعادلة الأولى حيساوي الجانب الثاني من المعادلة الثانية. أوكي. So the number of shares before the repurchase minus the number of shares after the repurchase equal the cash which is used for repurchases divided by the prior price. أوكي. طيب لو بدي أخلي بس ال number of shares after the repurchase لحالها على جنب، حنقلها هان عشان تصير بالموجب، حتساوي ال number of shares before the repurchases minus the cash which is used to repurchase divided by the prior price. اوكي. عشان نطبقها ونشوف قديش عدد الشيرز يا ترى هم حيتغيروا او لا بعد عملية الريبرتشيز او لا، حسب المثال الموجود. the number of shares after the repurchases equal the number of shares before the repurchases minus the cash which is used to repurchase divided by the prior price or the stock price. So it is equal the number of shares before the distribution, it is equal 100. من وين جبناها؟ من التابل الأول كان في عندي هي كل الشيرز. اوكي. and the cash which is used to repurchases of our stock، أنا قديش خصصت مبلغ عشان أعمل له repurchases، اللي هو المبلغ اللي كان موجود وين في short term investment. حكينا إذا بدي أعمل عملية توزيعات فأنا حشيله عشان أوزع. تمام. وحشوف قديش نصيب كل سهم منه، وإذا بدي أعمل repurchase برضه هو نفس المبلغ اللي أنا حستخدمه في عملية repurchases. فبالتالي the cash which is used to repurchase it is the $50 divided by the stock price before the distribution. عشان نرجع مرة تانية قديش كان سعر السهم before the distribution قبل ما نعمل أي عملية سواء repurchase or dividend هو $16. فبالتالي 100 minus $50 divided by 16, it is equal 3.1 and it is equal 96.88 shares. فبالتالي هنا اختلف عندي عدد الأسهم قبل عملية الريبرتشيز وبعدها. قبل عملية الريبرتشيز كان 100، هلقيتها بعد الريبرتشيز حيكون عندي 96.88 من 100. Okay. The intrinsic value after a $50 million as a repurchase. في السلايدات الأولى شفنا إنه لما أنا استخدمت الشورت تيرم انفستمنت $50 لما وزعتها كديفيدند، إيش اللي عملته؟ انخفض عندي سعر السهم الستوكر برايس من 16 إلى 15 ونص. السبب إنه كان في عندي ديفيدند بير شير $0.50. تمام؟ طيب لكن number of shares إذا لاحظتوا before the distribution after the distribution لما عملنا الكاش ديفيدند ضل زي ما هو 100 شير. لكن إذا بدي أعمل $50 هذه بديش أوزعها كاش ديفيدند، بدي أعملها ريبرتشيز، فإيش اللي حيصير؟ راح أعمل عمودين نفس العملية. Before the distribution the value of operation $1,937.5 plus the short term investment اللي هي $50. the total amount of the value of the firm equal $1,987.5 minus all of the debt and the preferred stock. It will give us the $1,600. It is the value of equity divided by the number of shares. حيعطينا the price. This is the price before the repurchases. Okay. طيب لما هعمل هلقيت repurchases إيش اللي حيصير؟ ال value of operations حضلها زي ما هي $1,937.5. لكن short term investments هنا أنا هعمل لها هستخدمها لإعادة الشراء زي ما هناك استخدمتها في إنه أعمل عملية التوزيع. فبالتالي هنا حيصير عندي short term investment equal 0. So the value of the firm equal $1,937.5 minus all of the debt. It will equal the value of equity $1,550. Okay, divided by the number of shares. As we calculated the number of shares, it is changed when we distribute the cash as a form of repurchases. It is decreased by to 96.88 shares. So the number of shares هان هتتغير عندي تمام. فبالتالي $1,550 divided by 96.88 shares, it will be equal $16. okay. فزي ما حنلاحظ هان عندي الستوك برايس ما اختلف وين في حالة الريبرتشيزز، لكنه اختلف في حالة الكاش ديفيدند. طيب ليش هنا الستوك برايس يعني ما اختلف؟ لأنه هان لما أنا قسمت على 100 تمام، لكن هان قسمت على عدد أسهم أقل، فبالتالي الستوك برايس ضل نفس الشيء. اوكي. النوتس أو الملاحظات. The short-term investments fall because they are used to repurchase stock. Short-term investment before the distributions or the repurchase cannot $50، لكنها هنا it is dropped or decreased. Why? Because we use it as a form of repurchase, or it is used to repurchase a stock. The stock price is unchanged. It's still $16 before and after the repurchase by actual repurchase. Okay. The third note, the value of equity falls from $1,600 to $1,550 because the firm no longer own the short-term investment. إذا لاحظنا هان the value of the equity انخفض. السبب انه كان فيها عندي انا جمعت $50، لكن هنا $50 شلتها عشان اعمل عملية الريبرتشيز، فبالتالي ادت الى الانخفاض. وكم قيمة الانخفاض $50، لانه 1600 ناقص 1550 حيعطيني $50. okay. The wealth of shareholders remains at $1,600,000 because the shareholders now directly own the $50 that was previously held by the firm in short-term investments. بقول لي هنا السؤال، يا ترى ثروة الملاك اختلفت؟ حدا هيقول لي مثلا هي انخفضت من 1600 ل 1550. اوكي، هي انخفضت ل 1550، بس هو فعليا احنا عملنا اعادة شراء من هدول الشير هولدرز، تمام، اخذنا منهم شيرز ودفعنا لهم $50، فهي فعليا الشير هولدرز ويلث ما اختلفتش، ال 1550 وفي 50 استلموها لما انا عملت عملية اعادة الشراء، فبالتالي the wealth of shareholders doesn't change and it is remain the same when we are repurchases the stock. Okay. So to make a comparison between the distributions of free cash flow as a form of dividend or repurchase, first of all, the repurchase, the stock price doesn't fall at time of repurchase. زي ما شفنا انه الستوك برايس ضل $16 بعد عملية الريبرتشيز and the number of shares falls، ولكن في عملية الريبرتشيز عدد الأسهم انخفض من 100 سهم ل 96.88 سهم. طيب في حالة distribution as a dividend, the stock price fall by amount of dividend at time of payment. سعر السهم انخفض على عكس مين repurchased، انخفض من $16 ل $15.5 and the number of shares doesn't change. Okay, this is a small comparison between the repurchase and dividend chart. As you see, the chart shows that the projected intrinsic value price for the two different distributions methods, the repurchases in a blue line and the dividend in a red line. Notice that the prices began at the same level because it has not yet begun making any distributions. So from the first, the line it is the same, or the stock price it is the same whether in a cash dividend or repurchases, because from here to here there is no cash distribution. Okay, the price for repurchase scenario climbed smoothly and grows to a higher level than does the price for dividend scenario, which dropped by the dividend per share each time it is paid. Okay, so the blue line, or the price of after repurchase, it is climbed, while the stock price, if we are distributed cash as a dividend, it is dropped or reduced by the dividend per share. Okay, however, the number of shares falls in repurchased scenario. The number of shares, it is decreased in a repurchase scenario. Okay, so as you see, the stock price, it is increased in a form of repurchases and it is decreased in a form of cash dividend. Why it is decreased in a cash dividend? Because we are paying dividend per share for every share. Okay, not so they have a choice and the freedom whether to sell or not. Whether in a cash dividend they have to receive the dividend per share. Okay, there is no choice whether to receive it or not. Also, the advantages of repurchases, it helps avoid setting a high dividend that cannot be maintained. If the company decided to pay a dividend, again, it should pay it with the same rate or the same amount in the coming years, and this is very difficult for the companies. Sometimes they are have problems, so they cannot pay the same amount or the same rate of dividend. So we can repurchase the extra amount rather than to pay it as a dividend, because if we didn't pay the same amount of or the same rate for a dividend for the shareholders, it will give a negative sign. The third advantage, income received in capital gains rather than higher taxed dividends. So if we are making repurchases, so we are received a capital gains. If the companies pay the free cash flow as dividend, it will be taxed. Okay, stockholders may take as a positive signal management thing stock is undervalued. إذا الشركة قررت انها تعمل ريبرتشيز، فهذا هيعطي مؤشر للستوك هولدرز انه والله اسعار اسهمنا في السوق انه مقيمة بطريقة منخفضة، فبالتالي يعني حتعمل اعادة شراء مرة ثانية، فبالتالي حيقل عندي عدد الاسهم اللي مطروحين في السوق، فبالتالي ممكن يزيد الطلب بعد هيك على هذه الأسهم، فتزيد أو ترتفع هذه الأسعار. Okay. What is the disadvantages of repurchases? May be viewed as a negative signal. A firm has poor investment opportunities. Okay. الشركة إذا بدها تعمل repurchases معناته حيفكر الشيرهولدرز او المستثمر انه الشركة ما عندها فكرة او استثمار معين مجدي انه تستثمر فيها اموالها، فبالتالي هي بدها تعمل عملية repurchases. Also, the international standards could impose penalties if repurchases were primarily to avoid the taxes on dividend. Okay, setting the dividend policy. What is the main steps for setting a dividend policy? First of all, forecast a capital needs over planning horizon, often 5 years. Then set a targeted capital structure, estimate the annual equity needs, set a target payout based on a residual model, generally some dividend growth rate emerged, maintain targeted growth rate if possible, varying capital structure somewhat if necessary. يعني عشان نعمل الديفيدند بوليسي يفترض انه انا على الاقل من 5 ل 10 سنين اضع زي يعني تخطيط انه يكون في عندي ريت معين للديفيدند انه ادفع للشير هولدرز. بعد هيك كمان يفترض انه احدد التارجت كابيتال ستراكشر تبعي، قديش هيكون عندي في الايكويتي في الديتس اند سترا. estimate the annual equity needs، قديش انا محتاج يكون في عندي تمويل من الايكويتي. then set a target payout based on residual model، حسب الريزيدوال موديل بدي احدد قديش هيكون عندي الباي اوت ريشيو. حشيل كل اللي انا محتاجاه لعملية الاستثمار من الكابيتال بادجيتنج، تمام، والباقي من النت انكم حيكون كعملية اللي هو توزيعات ارباح. اخيرا some dividend growth rate emerges، احيانا في عندي بصير يعني انه زيادة او extra amount to be paid as a dividend. maintain a target growth rate if possible. varying capital structure somewhat if necessary، واحيانا كمان بيصير في عندي تغيرات في الكابيتال ستراكشر اللي انا وضعته مسبقا، فبالتالي انا هعمل له عملية تغيير if it is need. Okay, we will stop here at this slide.